Hey Bat fans, Luke here, back with another video, and today we're kind of doing kind of like an old routine thing. For those who've been around the channel for a while, you used to remember way back when, every once in a while I would kind of do a thing called Bat Reviews, where I would take the books that didn't get their own video, and I kind of condense a review into one video and comes on all those other books. And that's something I kind of want to do today. I want to kind of take a look at all the Bat books that came out this week that I've read, and there's a lot, and just kind of do a little retro review of all of them. Some of them, not going to go too far in depth, and just kind of give a general thought of maybe the issue and the series as gone as a whole. Some, I'll kind of go a little bit more in depth, and you'll kind of piece out which ones those will be. But I want to start with the one I want to talk about the most, but the one I think it's going to be hard for me to kind of talk about, mainly because I really don't know for sure how I feel about issue number 32. What we have here, first off, we got the standard covered here on the left, the Yanin covering them. This one, I can't remember this one. Normally it's been Tim Sale doing it, but I forget who did this one because it's actually really good. The variant cover artist for this issue is, man, really screwing this one up. Oliver Copoil, if I'm saying that name right. And I really dig it. But this was the final issue of the Warren Jokes and Riddles storyline, and yes, we get the big answer to what Selina's going to tell Bruce. Now, first off, I kind of want to talk about the Warren Jokes and Riddles. I really did enjoy this story arc. I think it was a good kind of retro look back, kind of continuing on what Snyder did in Zero Year, kind of continue on maybe the year after, and kind of continuing on those mythos. I liked the Joker. I thought the Joker was really portrayed really well in this storyline, and kind of I think the unsung hero of this storyline is Kite Man. Kite Man was really given some prominence in the two standalone issues he had in this story arc, and I thought it really did kind of beef up his prestige. The Riddler, I'm not sure. My Riddler is more of a cerebral kind of character, a cerebral villain. While we see flashes of that in this story arc, I just think he was too much, maybe a little bit of a brute for me. Too much of a physical specimen, but neither here nor there. But one thing I will say in this arc I really did enjoy was Yanin's art. Yanin's art was just great. And it does continue on in this issue. If I had to really complain much about this issue number 32 in itself, the first third plus is really, in the Selina and the Bruce part, it's silent. That's basically what I'm saying. It's silent. There's really no dialogue. And yeah, I know you can get stories where there's not a lot of dialogue and really be really prominent, and that's true. In the Selina and the Bruce part, that is true. It's really the body language that's kind of telling the story and the way they're kind of communicating and emotions between them, and I like that. But the next, I would say 10 pages, I could be wrong, is just a fight between Batman, Riddler, and Joker. And it's just action for action. And again, if it's your thing, I got it. It's just, I just think it was kind of a little too much. It kind of could have used some of these extra pages to kind of flesh out a little bit more of the details of the story, which I'm getting to that in a minute. But the one thing I did like about this story is that there is a twist that I really didn't see coming. And is that Riddler is always looking for a way to solve the perfect riddle, you know, and you see that in this issue, and it's kind of revealed is that his biggest riddle is why isn't the Joker laughing, and this whole plot that he put together of starting this war was a way to get him to laugh and smile, and I kind of like that because I didn't see that coming. But from there, which again I did like it, but you do see kind of a throwback to the conversation Kite Man had with his son and the dialogue that Bruce has kind of mentioned. And I'm going to skim past what exactly happens to Bruce and what he does, which is ultimately the... I might have just freaking ruined it. Not really. What he was kind of confessing to Selena in this issue was what he did way back when. It's kind of a theme that we've seen before, and I like it. It's kind of revisiting the golden rule of Batman. You know, the one rule he will not break. You know, and sometimes he's pushed to the limit, and especially this man. This is only a year into him being Batman. He's not the Bruce and the Batman we know of, so he's still kind of developing and solidifying those values. So, I mean, the twist in that part, I did enjoy. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just totally close the cover there because I don't want to reveal Selena's answer. And in case you haven't read it yet, but I will say the answer I'm okay with. I'm just hoping... This is where I was kind of like, I really don't know how I feel about it. Because I think it's a little bit too early. I really want to see how they kind of flesh this out. And if it's just, it is what it is, and there's no impact to it going forward, I think it's just a cheap ploy. Which I don't think they'll do, but at the same time, I think, without really spoiling it, I guess sometimes there's a time to kind of do a creative direction on the character, but to me, I think there's always the core values, core competencies, core characteristics of a character. And once you start kind of going ways to kind of deviate from that, that's where I think you kind of might have some problems. So I think Tom King can handle this well. I'm just hoping that it's not as a sacrifice to the Bruce Wayne character, because in Batman and even Catwoman. So hope I didn't spoil it, but neither here nor there. It was a great issue, great story. Enjoyed the story. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Not perfect, but still very enjoyable. Again, the unsung hero character of the story arc was obviously Kite Man. And it wasn't even done by Yannon, but I think the unsung hero of the story arc on the creative team was Yannon. His art was just great. Next book is one I think a lot of people are waiting for, and this is Batman the White Knight. I'm sorry, just Batman White Knight. Issue number 1, written and drawn by Sean Murphy. Got the standard cover here and the variant. This one, I'm just getting the variant for issue number 1 and then double dip. But going forward, I'll probably just get the main cover. I actually just adored this issue. This was great. This can really go so many different ways and just be just awesome. The whole, it's a study of the dynamic relationship between Joker and Batman. Granted, we've seen that before, but this kind of takes it to the next level. Also, revisiting this is the timeless question, does Batman make Gotham worse? It's kind of like the chicken and the egg. Which came first? Is it, the villains and the bad stuff came before Batman, and then, Batman? Or is it, it's because of Batman all this bad stuff comes to Gotham? And that gets really visited really well in here. And also, there's always... It's seen in a lot of Batman stories in that Jim Gordon specifically, Batman, he's a vigilante. What he does, he breaks the law. Bottom line, there's no other ways to look at it. Whether his intent is good or bad, even though it's good, he has the right ideals and the right goal. But bottom line, what he does, it's illegal. He's running around his own justice and the civil liberties that are broken because what he does, either way you look at it, I'm not going to go on political route here, it is just illegal. And Joker kind of calls him out on this all this time that, the GCPD in Gotham are allowing Batman to do what they're doing. It's illegal. And he's going to call him out on it. Then, oh, by the way, his brutality is caught on tape and the world can see. So, not only is what Batman's doing is caught on tape, it's the GCPD and Commissioner Gordon right there doing nothing as he's doing it. But Joker does again, I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to go too far in depth. I got a lot of books to talk to, but I'm going to leave a lot of meat on the bone for you guys to take a look at and read this book if you didn't, because this is great. It's an Elseworld story. Sean Murphy just doing something really great, and it was just fun. 4.5 out of 5. This was just awesome. If I had to kind of dock it, the one thing that kind of rubbed me wrong a little bit was how Nightwing was just so, he just felt like a piece of sandpaper. He just didn't have maybe Barbara, she's in here, Batgirl. She kind of felt the way, Babs would feel, and acted. Dick and Nightwing, he just too gritty for me. It wasn't horrible. It just kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. That's what I think it's kind of holding it back for me. But seriously, this story just great. If you have not picked this up, get it done. Great stuff. Next book we'll take a look at. So I gotta figure out how to get 3 books in here, and that is All-Star Batman, issue number 14. We got the Albuquerque main cover. We got the Albuquerque variant, and this one I can't remember. I think this is Jock. I could be wrong. Now I'm thinking. That sort of looks like Jock's signature right there. Either way, All-Star Batman. I enjoyed All-Star Batman. I'll be honest, the first story arc, well, the story was okay. It was average. I just think the art by John Romita Jr. just kind of crushed it for me. But once you got past that first story arc, and we got the arc with Jacques, and then we got the First Ally story. All-Star really got a lot better. Not perfect by any means, but still, I enjoyed it. The backup stories, for me, not really a fan of throughout the entire run, especially that first one we have with Duke Thomas. I just kind of cringe when I see Duke Thomas. And I will continue to cringe when he gets his own series, and that's another topic. But All-Star, it's been good. As it gets, once you get past that Romita art. And the First Ally story, I really did enjoy it. It takes Batman out of his element, out of Gotham. And what I really like about it is, if you've read Snyder's run in New 52, one of the running gags we've seen in his stories is that it felt like Scott really hated Alfred. It's just you just had the worst luck ever. Gets abducted by the Joker, gets Jokerized. Later gets his hand cut off in Endgame. Gets the fear toxin right to the brain in Batman Eternal. It's just, you just thought that Scott just hated Alfred. And what First Ally does, it kind of gives Scott a chance to kind of put Alfred into the forefront, into the center, and kind of give him his due justice. And give him quasi an origin story, which I enjoyed. I thought it was really good. All-Star, another criticism people would kind of say with that, and you kind of see it in here in this issue too. It just takes Batman, and we're just kind of putting him on the god level to the next degree. Yeah, he survives a plane crash. It is what it is. I understand it's Batman, but even sometimes we forget he's just human, and so I think there should be a limit sometimes on what you can kind of get away with him, but neither here nor there. It was a fun story. Albuquerque's art in it was just great, and I'm kind of sad to see All-Star go, but it is what it is. I thought it was a good run. Again, that first story is kind of take it for what it is. I love the Jock story. I can't remember the name of it. To the Ends of the World or whatever it is. Just great art, great story, and I really did enjoy this specifically too because of the focus on Alfred. And if you didn't think there, oops, lost the camera there. And if you didn't think there was a close relationship between him and Bruce after reading this, you're sadly mistaken. Next, we're going to talk real briefly on this. Shadow of Batman. Again, I got multiple covers just because issue 1 after that I'll kind of just stick to the main. We got the main cover by David Finch. We got the variant by Sienkiewicz, and I was not going to pass this Alex Ross cover up. Snag this up in a heartbeat. Just absolutely adore them. Shadow Batman. This one was fun. Oh, All-Star Batman. I give it 3 out of 5. 14. This one, I liked the last story we had in the series, Batman and the Shadow. This one kind of continues it. I mean, it was okay. I thought Giovanni's art in it was pretty good. This one, Professor Pig's in it, and it's kind of a segue. So I'm trying to choose my words really closely here because it's gonna sound like I really didn't enjoy this issue. I did. It was okay, but it was far from perfect. A lot of the issue is an interaction between Damian and Batman, in that Bruce is obviously, once he gets past the fact that he's fighting Pig and these Dolatrons who've evidently came back to life and were reconstructed by someone else in New York, which was the Shadows territory, really has issues with Damian kind of running off on his own, being in the Teen Titans, off in the Teen Titans headquarters, and Damian is doing his normal self, the hey, quit treating me like a kid, whatnot, blah, 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 blah. And you really only see the Shadow really briefly in this. While I did like his interaction between him and Pig, that Pig reveals something to him that really freaks out the Shadow. Really does kind of put some credibility in this group of villains that it's a Shadow-centric villain group, I guess. The Secret Seven, the Sin Seven, I can't remember. Overall, again, I thought it was okay. Not perfect, but okay. One thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was Damian was a dick. But he was a dick like if you've seen Spinal Tap, you're cranking up the speakers to 11, yeah, he was a dick up to like level 12. And it was to Bruce. I mean, that's one person. We haven't seen Damian kind of go that route since like Batman and Son with Batman. Even in Batman and Robin, it wasn't that bad. This one is just, it just felt really divisive, and I understand what you get to the end of this issue. If you think what you saw was really what you really think it is, you're wrong. But it just, Damian, I thought was a little bit over the top. But either way, I dig the vibe of this story, and I think the series is going to be fun. So I give Shadow also 3 out of 5. I'm going to combine these two. Dark Knight's Batman, the Dawnbreaker, and the Green Arrow, issue number 32, the final issue of Gotham Resistance. You haven't heard me say too much about Dark Knight's Metal up to this point, and kind of that's sort of on purpose, but maybe next issue kind of talk about it a little more, get a video on it. I just been adoring this series so far, and this one here, the Dawnbreaker, the one shot of the Dark Knight's villains. This is the first time I kind of, again, trying to choose my words for it, because it was a fun story, but this one, other ones, I think, the Red Death and the Murder Machine, I think reality dealt with Batman and fear, and that really is kind of the premise between Batman, the connection with the dark multiverse and all these villains, is that it's supposed to be the greatest fear of Bruce / Batman brought out to the archetype of the Justice League members, kind of portraying that fear. In this one, I got less of a feeling of fear as a reason for Batman to become this Green Lantern type Dark Knight's villain, more of revenge, and it's kind of retreading, I think, a little bit of some unoriginal territory with obviously the murder of his parents. I get it. We kind of seen this story before, and I understand it had a major impact on Bruce. We get that because we read it about 1 billion times. But while I think the story in this is really good, and while the stuff that he does in here is just crazy, what he does to Penguin in space was just crazy, and even his interaction with Commissioner Gordon. I think this is Earth 32, negative 32. I can't remember the Earth, but you hear what he does to Commissioner Gordon. I was like, whoa. Again, I think it's just the primary reason for it was revenge and not fear, which kind of broke, I think, a little bit of the formula of the series so far. But neither here nor there. It was a good story. It really was. This guy's messed up. The art by Ethan Van Sciver was just great. Again, it just felt kind of a little bit off on the whole reasoning behind the creation of the characters, but whatever. Still fun. I give it a 3. I'm torn between 3.5 and a 3. Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5. It was just that's the biggest one. I think if it was, kind of held it back a little bit, it was just that really, just not really an element of fear, as more of, revenge is the reasoning behind the creation of that character. Green Arrow, the Gotham Resistance story has been okay. For what it was alright. I mean, it's kind of, we don't know, because we're only going into issue number 3 of the Dark Knight's Metal story, so I don't know if they're going to kind of flesh out this mountain in Gotham, any in the details of the story. You would assume it would, but I think that's kind of like the takeaway. It's kind of going more in depth into the mountain that rose up in Gotham. Also, let's reveal what could take out the dark villains. We'll just call them that. It's a good Easter egg for the continuation of the story. The art by Ferreira was just great in the issues of Green Arrow, and I think he is the freaking stud of this series in Green Arrow. Now, Percy's good, and I got it. The other guy comes in every once in a while, but Ferreira's art is just really carrying this series, and this series is good. Don't get me wrong, but I think the MVP of the series is Ferreira, and it really did give him a chance to shine in this miniseries, because that's really his bread and butter. It's the dark, occult, the murderish, violent horror type of stuff. If him and Scott Snyder need to get together and do a book, I'll just kind of leave it at that. But But yeah, he had a chance to really kind of come to the forefront in this miniseries, in this tie-in. And but that said, I'm kind of okay with seeing this one in and getting ready to go with Bat Out of Hell, which I think will start in Flash. I think we'll go Justice League, Flash, and I think Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. I think. That said, Green Arrow 32, I give it 2.5 out of 5. It was okay. Damian got a chance for some spotlight, which I enjoyed, but all in all, it was just kind of average. Nightwing, not going to say much other than it's going to be tough to see Seeley go, but this is his swan song, the final story arc in this. Nightwing has just been great. I think him and Sam Humphries, I think who it is, that are just going to flip-flop books. But we do see the return of Raptor and kind of continue on with Blockbuster. This one, 3.5 out of 5. It was just great. And I'm a little worried. I'm hoping that when Seal leaves, we don't see a huge drop in the quality of the book. It's been really great. Hopefully, it will continue to be awesome. Harley 29, and then the Harley and Ivy meet Betty and Veronica. The Vote Harley story, it was okay. If you don't follow the creative team on Twitter, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to go there. I was going to say something about the theme of the book, and I'm just not going to go there. It's fun. It's a fun story. I'm kind of interested to see where it kind of goes. But then again, I'm not even really give it a score with Harley, mainly because I read it. It's just for the good time. Just kind of take it for what it is. But I do think it's a niche kind of title. And not only then we go with Harley and Ivy and Betty and Veronica. That's even more of a niche title because you're getting kind of like the Archie realm, and I don't know who else reads Archie. So I think if you're a fan of Harley and in the Archie world, I think both these books you'll like it. If you don't, you're not gonna like it, and that's what I kind of always felt all along. I'm not gonna say it's kind of like my guilty pleasure book, but it sort of is. It's just one I just read for have a good time, get a good chuckle. Not too much of the breaking of the fourth wall as much lately in the main Harley book, but you see more of interaction with her and Poison Ivy. Even this in this title, which I always enjoy. Scarecrow's in this story, so it got my interest peaked. It's again, just read it for what it is, have a good time. But I will say on Harley and Ivy meet Betty and Veronica, it was okay. I'm not really an Archie guy, so I'm kind of really getting this because of the Harley and the Poison Ivy, but it was okay. But again, I think it's a niche book. I'm not going to give it a score, but in reality, if it's your thing, you'll enjoy it. If it's not your thing, you won't. Man, I keep dropping the freaking phone. It's not good. Tell you what, we're 28 minutes in. We'll just make this quick. This is the bottom of the barrel anyway. These are the two titles that just always go to the bottom when I read for the week, and it's just a shame. Mainly because with Justice League, I mean, we ended up with Jeff Johns' run on the Dark Side Warrior was great, and we're just getting some kind of subpar. Hitch just needs to wrap up his final story. I forget who's picking it up, but Justice League hasn't been really good. And Passarin, I think he's trying his best, but you see some panels in here that are just not all that great. Bane Conquest, it's rough. This is the completionist in me, going to continue to get it and wrap it up. We're halfway there, but it's just, it's a hot mess. These two books are just a hot mess. 1 out of 5 for both. Definitely need to see better days for these two titles. Anyway, I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up. That's a lot of books to kind of cover. Keep it under 30 minutes if I can. 15 seconds, I doubt it, so we'll probably bleed over a little bit. But anyway, don't know if I'll continue to do these many books in one session. Just kind of wanted to chat about the books came out this week, and maybe next week the books come out, kind of just focus in on one or two and kind of go from there. But it was definitely nice to go out and talk some bad books. I don't nearly get to do that as much as I'd like to. Some of it's kind of conditions based. Some of it is it's kind of a decision. It gets ugly out there sometimes, and yes, don't be a douche. If I had to say anything what's going on, just don't be a douche. That said, have an informed opinion. Don't say anything. Don't think a certain way because someone's telling you. Just do the research. Believe it or not, both sides of the argument, there's stuff's out there. You just gotta look at it. So, being informed, reader out there, I guess, but at the same time, don't be a douche. It's, again, we're just reading comics here, man. Having a good time. Let's not ruin it. And I hate to end on this video on such a bummer note, but I am. So, anyway, let me know in the comments below what you thought about these books. Love to bat chat with you all and kind of go from there. And check out some of the other videos that are floating around out there. And tell you what, it's a good time to be reading bad books because there are just so many, and I think they're really good. Anyway, rambling. So, until next video, take care.